sections 1 through 10. So read them when you get time, read it in this order, because this will help you get through it. So you want to start with number 4, definitions, and then go to number 9, violations, number 10, fouls and penalties, number 8, free throws, number 6, live ball, dead ball, number 7, out of bounds and throw-ins, number 5, scoring and timing regulations, number 3 is players, substitutes, and equipment, number 2 is officials and their duties, and then number 1, court and equipment. The most important section is section 4, because if you don't understand the definitions, you're going to have a big problem. So start with section 4. It's also the largest section. Understand that, and you'll be fine. Okay. So again, we have this. We'll send it out later. We can put it up again when we if you have any questions. All right. So should we get started, Stacy? Any questions right now? I'll go over the test stuff at the end.
Okay. Okay. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to call out somebody's name, and Kevin's going to put the question up here that's going to be answered. And whoever you are, that's it. Just going to give your best guess. Okay. And then if anybody has any concerns or questions, I know that the concussion stuff, you guys don't have access to yet. So I'll get you, you're probably going to have to guess on these concussion questions, but eventually you will have access to the clinic about concussions, and you'll have a better understanding. So, okay. So number 1, Paul, you're it.
Well, first of all, Stacy, do they have the mechanics manual yet?
Yeah.
Okay, some of that stuff is in the mechanics manual. So
all right. Oh, okay. So question 1, prior to the contest, the official is required to ask the coach, does your team have a healthcare professional authorized in concussion management? I have true.
Any comments about that? That's a pretty straightforward deal. That's in your mechanics manual in the front section where it talks about the I think what it's called is Washington rule exceptions, page 14. It starts on page 14. So that basically some of these concussion questions and some of these Washington rule exceptions are in that section. Okay. Stacey, you can see my screen okay?
Yep.
Okay, so second question.
Second question's going to Byron.
After being removed from the game for symptoms of a concussion, a player must be evaluated by proper medical personnel prior to returning to play. Who is responsible for making sure the player has been properly evaluated? I would say D, but that's kind of a loaded question to me.
Okay. Anybody else want to pipe in?
I
was
thought
thinking
the
head coach.
Head coach.
Yeah.
Head coach.
Somebody's got to be responsible.
Okay.
However, if the head coach had been ejected from the game, then it goes to some other coach. I don't know.
That is
Depends.
true. Any other questions, comments? Okay, so I'm going to go over this real quick since there's a couple questions related to this, and this is going to help you on number 3. So the answer to this question is C, the head coach. So prior to the game, what you're going to do is you're going to go to each head coach and you're going to ask them the question in number 1. Does your team have a healthcare professional authorized in concussion management? So here's the key. If they say yes, that's fine. And if they say no, that's fine too. But this is the kicker. If you have a player, let's say he falls on the floor and bumps his head on the ground, and he gets up a little wobbly, you can take the player over to the coach and say, Coach, he hit his head on the floor. Can you check him out for a concussion? All right. And if he has let's rephrase that. If there is a medical professional on his crew, on his team, that medical professional, along with the coach, will make the determination, and the coach ultimately says he can come back into the game. If the coach answers you, no, I don't have a healthcare professional or a trainer tonight, then the minute you take him off for symptoms of a concussion, he can no longer come into the game. And it doesn't matter if the coach says he's okay, he's fine. You know, he's doing jumping jacks, he's doing, you know, cartwheels, he's fine. No, he's not. When you tell me you don't have a medical professional and we have to take a player out for concussion symptoms, that player can no longer come in the game.
If the opposing team can use that same professional, correct? Both teams
Yes.
can use, if it's usually the home team you ask, right?
You ask both coaches.
Both coaches, okay. But if one has a professional, both teams can use that professional.
Typically what will happen is you'll go to the visiting coach and you'll say, you know, you ask him the question, the coach will say, no, my trainer didn't come tonight, but I know the other team has a trainer, can we use their trainer? Then all you do is you go to the other coach and say, coach, do you have a medical professional tonight? He's going to say yes. And then all you need to do is, coach, the other team didn't bring their trainer. Okay, if he uses yours, they're always going to say yes. Then you're covered. Okay, does that answer your question? Any other questions on that? Okay.
If there were a
Go ahead.
if there were a medical emergency during a game, somebody needed CPR, maybe it's not a player, but you know, somebody else, and there's nobody else who could do it but you, then what do? You just stop the game and you help out, that sort of thing? I mean,
To be honest
hopefully
with
there'll
you,
be more than one person.
if there's a medical emergency and you're trained to, you know, provide CPR, let's say you're EMT or something like that, you know, you have a medical responsibility to go help. Okay, I mean, that's just common sense, right? It's the same thing as somebody falls, you know, on the street and you're a medical professional. So just use your common sense.
Mhm.
You know, on that type of thing. I've never seen that happen, but I know it has happened.
Mhm.
So, you know, that's just common sense. You know, usually there's somebody around and you want it to get involved, but if there isn't and you're qualified to do it, of course, you know, you're going to try to save a person's life instead of just standing there. Okay. Number 3.
Okay, Sammy, you're up.
After being removed from the game for symptoms of a concussion, the player is approved to return to play. A few plays later, the player is once again showing signs of a potential concussion. What should be done? And I said C, but I'm not certain.
Anybody else?
I'd say B.
Reevaluation.
Yeah, I say B.
Any other questions, comments? Yeah, the answer is B. The player should be sent off for evaluation. So, you know, you took him out one time. The team has a medical professional. You know, coach says he's okay. Comes in. After a few minutes, looks still a little wobbly. Just take him out again. You know, it's the head coach's responsibility. Okay. You don't have to make that judgment. You don't have to say, coach, I've already taken him out once, he's not coming back in. You don't have to do that. As long as he has a medical professional, the coach is ultimately responsible. Okay.
Number 4, Roger.
Okay. Team A is ahead 52-10 in the third quarter. A1 fouls B1 while B1 is in active shooting. The game clock should be stopped. I said A when the official blows the whistle for a foul.
Anybody else?
This is another, again, these are the things that are like Washington State exceptions, and they're in the front of the mechanics manual. So if you couldn't find them, that's where they're going to be. But go ahead.
I said, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Oren.
I said D because of the mercy rule.
Okay. The reference is correct. Who gave the first answer here?
I did.
Roger.
Roger? Okay.
Yeah.
So again, as Stacy said, this isn't a Washington rule exceptions. It's under the mercy rule. Basically what the rule says is in the start of the second half or anytime during the second half, if one team is ahead by 40 or more points.
I see.
Then the game, we have a running clock.
I see.
And the only time it stops on the running clock is if you have injury, you have a timeout between quarters, or when you have free throws. And the only way that you could have a common foul and we're not shooting anything, right? So we're not shooting free throws. So you wouldn't stop the game when you hear the whistle for the foul or when he reports to the scorer's table. The only way you know that we're going to shoot free throws and when you're the official is when you actually signal 2 shots. Okay? That's when we stop the clock. Is that clear?
Yep.
Okay.
So the answer is,
The answer is D, when the
Okay.
official reports a number of free throws to be attempted.
okay.
We have white 21, push, 2 shots. When that 2 shots comes out and you show the 2 fingers, that's when we're shooting. I mean, excuse me, that's when the clock stops. Okay?
Can you just say again when the mercy rule goes into effect?
Second half, 40 points or more.
Okay.
Now, here's the kicker. If the team that's behind, say, starts to catch up and all of a sudden it's 30 points, 20 points, they're catching up, right? The clock still runs. All right. Once they hit 40, it runs for the rest of the half, regardless of what the score is. They can come back and tie the game and we still would have a running clock. Okay? So just because they score doesn't mean, they get it below 40, we stop doing this.
Has that ever happened? Has a team ever come back from 40 down and on a running clock?
I've never seen it personally, but I've seen it get under 10.
Wow.
It does happen. And it's really hard to sit there and tell the coach that's behind, sorry, coach, I got to run the clock. You couldn't get it. You let the team get up by 40 at one point. That's just the rule for Washington State. Okay, number 5.
Number 5, Dan.
Oh boy, he gave me an easy one. Who
Not on purpose.
I think we just covered this. Team A is ahead 50-10 at halftime. Team B starts the third quarter with a throw-in and immediately scores a field goal. The officials allow the clock to stop at all whistles is the incorrect procedure.
Well, that's so easy.
Yeah, I know. I feel like I should do another one.
No, I bet you the next time you're going to get a real head scratcher. So we'll just move on. We'll just move on to Will.
So
Okay,
Dan,
Will.
I'm making a note here. You got the easy questions so that we're going to hit you hard. Number 6.
Where'd he go? He was in here just 1 second ago. Just a second.
All right. Well, we're going to go to
He's-
Doug. Is he here?
No, he's here. He's here. Number 6,
Me?
right here.
A1 loses control of the dribble and during the loose ball, B1 is whistled for a kicking violation. With 7 seconds remaining on the shot, what is the procedure for the foul?
I can barely hear you.
I'll speak up. My bad. A1 loses control of their dribble, and during the loose ball, B1 is whistled for a kicking violation with 17 seconds remaining on the shot clock. What is the procedure for the shot clock? I know it's reset. B, 20 seconds.
That would work if you were playing college ball.
30,
Somebody else? Anybody else?
35.
Does losing control also mean losing possession?
I'm not going to give you that one right now. I'll answer that one in a little bit.
Do not reset.
Do not reset. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shot clock remains 17 then.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Okay. This year, and you're going to learn this in your when you take the WOA clinics online. you have to take, I think there's 3 clinics you have to take in addition to taking the test. Each one is about 5 minutes, so don't worry about it. But they'll talk about this. So this year in the state of Washington, they've changed the rule so that in both boys and girls, we're using a 30-second shot clock. Okay. So that should tell you right away, the answer is C. Okay.
As long as you understand that a kicking violation always results in a reset of the shot clock.
Right. So there was a question about when he loses control of the dribble, does he lose control? Well, he doesn't lose team control. The team still has team control. So when there's a kicking violation, there's always a reset on a kicking violation. Okay? So the answer is C.
But I have a question on that because it says in here, use 30 seconds for girls, 35 seconds for boys.
So the Washington, the manual you have was printed last year. This year, the rule has changed to 30 seconds for both boys and girls.
I see.
So you're looking in the right place. It is Article 6F, 6 Frank in the Washington rule exceptions. But this year it's changed to 30 seconds. Again, you'll get that in your clinic, the online clinic you have to take. All right.
Okay.
So, we're probably going to have quite a few early violations this year because everybody doesn't know that, but it was changed this year to just straight 30 seconds.
Okay, Doug, number 7.
Oh man, with the alternating possession arrow favoring team A and 14 seconds remaining on the shot clock, A1's try for the goal lodges between the backboard and the ring. Shot clock should,
Well, I can help you right now and tell you that it's not D because I already told you guys that, right? So now you're on your own.
Is it C?
What does everybody think?
Seems like it would be to be consistent.
I said A.
Yeah.
And why'd you say A?
Because I read it. Hold on, I'll find it.
Because it wasn't a violation.
Yeah.
It didn't technically hit the rim, so wouldn't it be A?
Okay. At least you have some
Wait.
logic to that.
I
How
thought
about
when the
anybody
ball
else?
lodges, don't you lose possession?
What
You
was
tell
that question
us.
again?
Oh man, where is my rule book? Dang it. I don't remember this. I thought when the ball gets lodged, you don't get the ball back. It goes to the other team.
If it's your
You have
possession,
a-
you do.
Wait, sorry, what?
It's A's alternating possession. So they get it on the jump ball scenario.
Oh,
So it seems like it's C to me because it's a
should
new
have-
shot clock, it's a new possession. But maybe it's A.
I say
I just gotta know if I'm right
Is
or
that you,
wrong,
Brad?
guys.
Is that a jump ball? I
Well, you
guess I
tell
don't
me.
know. Well, I'm asking, I guess, because at this point I don't know.
So it's good. So everybody pipes in. You guys are all over the board, which is good. So that's why we do this. So first things first. What is this trying to tell you? A1's try for goal lodges between the backboard and the ring, right? So here's the key thing, right here. Hope you can see that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Lodges between the backboard and the ring. So I'm going to ask this question, and somebody can just pipe in. If the guy takes a shot with a shot clock and it hits the rim, and the ball gets the ball comes off and gets rebounded, do we reset the shot clock?
Depends if it's going the other way.
Well,
No, it doesn't.
No,
I'm
no.
just asking
If
a
it
question.
if it hit the rim, if it hits any part of the rim, I would think, yeah, you reset the shot clock.
Okay, so that's a question. So that's the answer. So somebody said something else if it's going the other way.
If the possession was going the other way.
Okay. So remember, this is high school now, okay? This is not college. This is
So
high
it's just a reset.
So the ball hits the rim.
It's a
In a
reset.
normal scenario, you would reset the shot clock. But here's the
Correct.
key to this question.
It
It
never hits the
lodges
rim.
between the backboard and the ring. By
Yeah, it never hits the
definition,
rim.
how does it get stuck? It has to be touching the rim for the ball to get stuck. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yes.
So there has to be a reset.
So you have to do a reset,
Has to be C.
and it has to be C.
Yes.
Good work.
Does that make sense to everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, don't get confused with all the stuff going in college. If the offense gets the rebound, then it's
Yeah,
one
this is not
reset.
college.
The defense, this is like whoever gets the rebound after the ball hits the rim, the shot clock gets reset to 30. The end.
Gotta stop watching these TV games.
Well, no, you just have to keep the right rule book in your head.
Okay, any
Okay.
questions on this? The answer is C.
Okay, and another thing to just to remember is if the ball gets lodged, then you go to the AP arrow. Okay?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I missed that.
Automatically.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So-
it is a jump ball scenario.
Whenever
Okay.
the ball is lodged, it becomes a jump ball.
That's good because I didn't know that either.
Sorry, I missed that. Forgot that point.
And that's why I'm here. Pat,
Number
Patrick.
8.
All right. Question 8. Shot clock operator should stop the device and continue time without resetting the shot clock when play begins after.
Take a good guess.
C.
Who's speaking right now?
Me.
Patrick.
Patrick? Okay.
Anybody want to help?
I said
Make a
D.
better guess.
I said D.
Yeah.
Me too.
Why did you say D?
D.
One of you guys, or whoever, one of you guys that said that. Why?
Because it said so in the rule book. You want me to? find it?
Good answer, Sammy.
Well, it's like they're offsetting fouls in each case and resetting the shot clock with the team to the team who's in control at the time the offsetting fouls occurred would retain possession with the same amount of time on the clock.
There was a lot right in there. There was a lot. Not everything.
Wait, which one was that again?
So let's start here. The
7.
correct answer, number 1, is D. It's
Yeah.
all the above. That's in your mechanics manual in Article 7E. 7,
Right.
Eric.
Right.
So in those situations, when you have a double
Yep.
personnel foul, simultaneous personnel foul, or an inadvertent whistle,
Okay, yeah.
it's basically, we do not reset the shot clock. Okay? It is only in those situations that we do not reset the shot clock. That's not an easy one to know. You just kind of have to know that one. All right. Any questions on that one? And you're also not going to find this in the national, in your regular rule books, because Washington State is one of a handful of states that actually uses a shot clock. That's why shot clock information is not going to be in your rule book. All right. So the only place you get that is in your Washington rule exceptions in your mechanics manual. All right. Okay, number 9. Now we're starting to have fun now, because here's where we go.
Chris, you're up. Chris Carter, weren't you signed in before?
Yeah, I'm here. I just had to unmute.
Okay, got it.
All right. So we've got A1 is fouled by B1. It is Team B 6-team foul. A1 is erroneously awarded bonus free throws. During A1's first try, A2 then intentionally fouls, pushes B1, and an intentional foul is called on A2 as A1's free throw goes in the basket. While reporting the foul on A2, the official is notified that the foul by B1 was only Team B's 6-team foul. Official, and this is my first reading through it, so give me just a second.
That's okay.
I would go with cancels the successful three. Well, so we don't take all day here. I'm going to go with C, but let me come back to that.
Okay.
Anybody else?
I had C as well.
C. I went C.
I also said C.
This is Carl. I have a question though.
Go ahead.
This is Carl. I have a question.
Sure.
I seem to recall reading somewhere that you never take away a point that's already been awarded.
Right.
I can see where you're confused on that, and we're going to touch on that a little bit later. So just kind of hold that question.
For
But I
this
didn't like
question, sorry. So for this question, I was actually going towards A because it was an intentional foul that happened during the shot.
Yeah.
And when an intentional foul happens, you don't cancel the erroneous shot. That's how I interpreted how the rule was written.
Okay. You're about 30% right on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else? So we had quite a few people say they like C. Can somebody pipe in and tell me why they like C?
It's a correctable error.
That's good.
You can correct it, at that point, and it doesn't impact the play.
Okay.
So in the book, in that little reference that it says that it would be canceled.
Okay.
But I'm confused because if A had the ball, I would have thought it might have stayed with B. If it says that all of the activity during it shall be canceled, then it should remain as A's ball, I thought.
Okay.
I don't think you don't cancel the intentional foul though, just the free throw. The intentional foul still happened.
Is intentional? Is it 2 plus possession?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Okay.
Okay. So let's discuss this question because there's a lot going on here. The correct answer is C. Number one. Let's get that straight. It is C. So first things first, we have B's 6-team foul. It's a common foul. And by definition, we don't shoot on the 6-team foul, correct? We shoot on the 7th.
7th,
yeah.
So they're telling you A1 is erroneously awarded bonus free throws. That's the key right off the top, right? All right, so we know that. Let me just. So if they're erroneously awarded bonus free throws, whoever mentioned that it's a correctable error, and that is correct. So this section is very confusing. It's on page 19. There's a little diagram that shows you correctable errors. And just before that, it goes into this explanation about it. So basically, one of the items that you can correct under the correctable error, and there's only 5 of them, all right, is permitting a player, let me back up a minute, is awarding an unmerited free throw. Okay, that is one of the 5 correctable errors. So in this case, they're awarding free throws to A1. So those can be taken away as long as we're within the correctable error time frame. And that's in this little diagram, okay? But, so in a normal situation, if he makes it and nothing else happens and the scorer hits the horn and says, you know, we shouldn't have given him the free throw, it was only the 16th foul, we can take that basket off because we're still within the correctable error time frame. Right? As long as you're in that time frame, you can take, in this case, free throws off the board. The only thing that's different about this play is A2 intentionally pushes B1. Okay? Anything that happens during this correctable error period, such as an intentional foul, cannot be taken off the board.
How about a common foul?
Anybody?
If A2 pushed B1 and it was just a regular foul, would it get wiped off or would we keep the foul?
Wipe it off. Says other than unsporting, flagrant, intentional, or technical fouls.
Very good, Ken. So they're telling you exactly what's going on here. A1 is erroneously awarded free throws, and A2 intentionally pushes B1. So we have an intentional foul during a correctable error situation. We can take the points off the board. Because we have an intentional foul, we have to shoot 2, right? B1 gets to shoot 2. And what happens on an intentional foul? Who gets the ball next?
Team B.
Team B. So the correct answer on this one is C.
And where do you get the ball after an intentional foul? Where's the throw-in spot?
Mid-court line.
Say again?
Mid-court.
Yeah.
Well, that's not what C says.
Oh, spot throw in. There's the spot of the foul.
Yeah. An
Okay.
intentional foul, the ball comes in nearest the spot of the foul.
Okay.
Okay? There's a lot in this question. So piece by piece, you just have to unfold it and figure it out.
Yeah,
Okay.
the correct answer is C. I'm trying to highlight it, but I'm not having problems with it. So the answer is C. Okay.
All right, Chris, you had a hard question and you got the right answer. Next one, Tanner.
Make sure you mark that down there for me, Stacy.
All right, I'll mark you down that you had a hard one as opposed to Dan, who had the easiest one of the night.
Go ahead, Tanner.
Sorry, my my laptop just died there for a second. We're on number 10, right?
Yep.
Correct.
All right. A3 has committed their 5th foul. However, the table crew fails to notify the officials for several minutes. During the time that A3 has played, A3 has scored 4 points. The officials are then notified that A3 has been playing with 5 fouls. And I said A.
Anybody else?
I had A as well.
Okay.
I agree with A.
I also agree with A.
So what's wrong with B?
You
Why can't we
cancel
just take,
A3's
why can't we take off the points?
Because it's not within the correctable
time frame.
time.
Is this a correctable error?
Several minutes.
It's been several minutes since, yeah, I would say it was outside that time frame to be correctable.
Okay, so let's back up a minute. I told you guys there are 5 correctable error situations.
Can anybody say what they are?
Wait, do you want the reason why it's A or why it's
No, I
not
just
B, or
want to know, what are the 5 correctable errors?
failure to award a merited free throw, awarding an unmerited free throw, permitting a wrong player to attempt a free throw, attempting a free throw at the wrong basket, and erroneously counting or canceling a score.
Okay, so does this fall under one of those?
This is a scorer error.
No, I don't think it falls under any of that.
No.
No, because it's not free throws. It's just a,
Erroneously score.
Say again, Carl?
Erroneously counting a score.
Well, the
They were
baskets
counted in
went
error.
in, so it's not an error.
I like.
But
way
in the
you
note, it says it's because the scorer has failed, so it.
So Tanner, you had A, correct?
That's right.
Okay, so I'm just messing with you guys. So A is the correct answer. Because see, this does not fall within any of the correctable error scenarios. And it wouldn't fall under it anyway if it did, because the time frame is off. Okay, so if you have a player in the game that's has fouled out because the scorer makes a mistake, and then they catch it later and he scored points, we just let it stand.
Mm-hmm.
You notify the coach, sorry, scorer made a mistake. So-and-so is fouled out. It's on his 5th foul. We need a substitute. That's it. He can score 20 points and it would still stand. And again, that reference is 211.5 in the notes in your rule book. And that's, you know, it talks about it very clearly. Okay.
All right, Rowan.
Number 11.
Okay. A1 commits their 5th foul. Officials notify coach, has timer start the 15-second replacement interval by sounding horn, and then notifies A1 that they are disqualified. Coach brings team together for a quick huddle. Timer sounds, horn ending the 15-second replacement interval. Coach then sends A6 to table to replace A1. This is my first time looking at this one, so let's see. I would say, let's see.
This is one of those that you just have to know. So.
Okay,
you know.
I think, is it A, that it's a technical foul?
Maybe. Somebody else?
I thought it was D.
Yeah.
He sends him to the table, so he brings him on. Because I don't think he can just directly walk on the floor. He has to go to the table.
Okay, there's some logic to that.
Does it have to be before the 15-second interval?
Yeah,
The A6 have to go to the table before that 15-second was over.
Okay, so
when the second,
let's come back to that for a second. I'm going to help you out a little bit. Okay, your answer is 50% right.
Okay.
So
would it be B because it has to be to the head coach? It's not really to the team.
You got it.
Okay.
So the rule is on a 5th foul disqualification, what you will do is, you're going to call the foul on a player and you're going to go to the table and you're going to report, white 21 push. The scorer is going to look at you, put up 5 fingers, say that's his 5th foul. All right. Then what you're going to do is you're going to go to the coach and say, Coach, Number 21 is fifth foul. He's fouled out. I need a substitute, please. And then you're going to turn to the score or the timer, and you're going to say, start the clock. All right, so he's going to give you a horn. Now he's got 15 seconds. Okay. So during this time, after this, you're going to tell your partner so we can notify the player, because that's really hard to do in 15 seconds. And so now 15 seconds is going. We're getting close. Horn goes off. In this case, in this question, he had a huddle. Then the horn goes off. All right. So that player was never at the table ready to come in at 15-second interval. All right. He has to be at the table for you to beckon him in, just as the horn's going off or before the horn's going off.
So do you guys actually call that tight?
Yes.
Okay.
Now here's where your common sense has to come in a little bit. If the coach is beckoning the player and he's got to take off his warm-up jersey and he's running to the table as he's doing it and he's 2 steps away and the horn goes off, common sense in this case says I'm probably going to give him a little bit of slack because he's just almost at the table.
So you're really saying because they huddled, they were the ones wasting the time. That's
right. He ignored
pretty
the
much
interval. He didn't even attempt.
Gotcha. Okay.
To bring somebody in. And that's that's the crux of this question. They're trying to tell you that he's disregarding the 15-second rule because he's having a huddle and then the horn goes off and then he gets somebody to the table. Does that make sense? It's very subtle.
Yeah.
Any questions? So the answer is B, as in boy.
All right, Oren.
Scoreboard shows Team A ahead 61-60 when the audible signal goes off to the end of the fourth quarter. R and U1 have left the visual confines of the court. However, U2 is slow getting off the court as the scorekeeper gets his or her attention and notifies U2 that the scoreboard is incorrect and that the game is tied 60-60. U2 tells scorekeeper it is too late to correct the score as R has already left the visual confines of the court. I wasn't sure what you.
Yeah, this is a 3-person crew, and so there R is the referee, and then you have an umpire 1 and an umpire 2. But the concept is still the same. If you're in a 2-person game and the referee leaves the floor and the umpire is still on the floor, and the table tells them, "Oh, the score's really tied."
What do you do?
Well, I think that's why you leave the floor together, first of all. I think since he hasn't left the floor, they still have the game. I don't remember reading.
What answer do you have first?
I have incorrect procedure because on Article 4 it says when all of the officials leave the visual confines and he was still there.
Okay.
But
do you agree with that, Paul?
Yeah, I think because if they both should have got off the court together, but yeah, I think if he's still on the court, they still have the game. They still have control.
That's correct. So the correct answer is B. It's an incorrect procedure. If there's one official that for whatever reason is slow leaving the floor and the table catches their attention and there's a problem like this, the game is not over. But the minute you leave the confines of the court, they can't go in the locker room and knock on the door and come back and say, "Hey, we screwed up." Okay.
I like that you had a rule reference there, Oren. I'm impressed. Okay. Who's 13 will be Ken.
Okay. Before the contest, both coaches verify that their teams are legally equipped. In the third quarter, A1 is discovered wearing jewelry. Which is correct? Let's see here. This is one I glossed over, the clothing one. Where are we at? Two, 4, 5. Go with C so he can remove the jewelry using a timeout.
Okay. Anybody else?
I'm just throwing that one out there.
It's okay.
I'd agree.
I had D, that he has to leave the game and the coach receives a direct technical, because he had already explained to you that all his team was legally equipped.
Okay.
So otherwise, why would you ask him if you weren't going to penalize them if it happened?
You know, there's some logic to that. Anybody else?
I said A.
I also said A.
Okay.
I said B.
B. Okay. Wow. Everybody's
A, and then if coach uses a timeout after he moves the jewelry, the A1 can come back in.
Okay.
So you're saying it's kind of like an injured player. They can buy him back in.
Yeah.
So if somebody had answered A, if you came out and said right away it was A, I was going to mess with you and say, well, what about C? You know, why can't he buy him with a timeout? All right. So the correct answer is A. If you read the reference, it's pretty straightforward. When you have a player that for some reason you did not catch, you know, he's got a piece of jewelry that you didn't see, and he comes in the game and he's playing, players got to leave the game. The rules are pretty simple. No jewelry. They cannot buy him with a timeout. He's got to take him out and bring a sub in. He can come back into the game later on in the game, after, you know, if he takes his jewelry out.
So if you ask the questions, are they legally equipped? They'll just say yes every time, because there's no penalty for not being legally equipped. I mean, that seems silly to ask the question. I mean, I know.
There is a penalty to the player. What if it's their star player and he has to leave the game?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I get that, but it just seems silly to answer the question, because they could just say yes and not even worry about it. But it's okay. It's the rule.
Well,
But
that's
then
why,
he can come.
the-
He
the
can
o-
come
that's
back
why
in, right?
You are correct in that coaches will just answer yes, but you placed an onus on him to know. So later on,
True, but he doesn't. If he doesn't know, he still doesn't get. There's no. You're right. Player leaves the game, but
that's his
there's
penalty.
no. Yeah. Okay.
And if you're like me, who has a little mean streak in him, I'm going to wait to, you know, if I see it at a certain time, if I could pick a critical time, I'm going to wait and take him out. There's just a little sarcasm there, but.
So you can't buy them with a timeout, right?
No,
So,
you cannot buy
but
them with a timeout for jewelry.
But you can take them out, and then at the next dead ball, they can come right back in.
That is correct.
Okay.
Provided they take the jewelry out.
All right. Right. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So that was Ken's question. The next one goes to Emma. You still with us?
Here's again language that's inappropriate.
Emma, you're breaking in and out.
No. Is it better now?
No, sorry. You must live out in the middle of nowhere or something. All right, Emma, you're just, unless you can get better voice quality, we're gonna have to skip over you and go to Ron for this one.
I hope you're not just playing with your mic.
During the game, one official hears a fan using language that is inappropriate towards his or her partner or an opposing player. The proper procedure according to the WOA and WIAA would be, I would say B, stop the game and tell the game management supervisor to remove the fan immediately before the game can be restarted.
Hey, Ron, can you turn your video on so we can see you? Perfect. Does anybody have anything else?
I said D.
I was going to say it's either B or D.
I also said D.
I said D,
D.
but I think it could also possibly be B.
Okay. This one's pretty straightforward. It's in your rule book. It's under the notes under 281. And you basically just tell the game management, this person is, what happened, and let them take care of it. All right. You don't hold up the game. All right. We don't hold up the game for a fan, who's being unruly. You just let them know. And, in most high school games, the game manager will go over there and just point him out, and he's gone. Okay. It's a pretty straightforward one.
Is he required to leave?
That's up to the game management.
You let them decide.
You let them decide.
Okay.
Sometimes they'll let them stay, but they'll sit next to them so they don't say anything.
So it's a D.
It is D. Next.
Don't ever take it upon yourself to point at a fan and tell him to leave the gym. That's
Yeah,
bad.
don't do that.
Bad. I did it once a long time ago and I learned my lesson. Okay, the next person is Carl.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'll turn on my video. I am doing this all over cellular because I have no power at the house, so hopefully you can see me.
Do the best you can, Carl.
All right, 15. A1 fouls B1. It's A1's fifth foul. The official reports the foul and is notified by the scorer that A1 is disqualified. In order, the official properly notifies the coach. As the timer starts the 50-second replacement interval by sounding the horn, and then notifies A1 they are disqualified. At what point does the player become bench personnel? I believe it's B, when the coach is notified.
Okay.
I'm
Anybody
going
else?
to turn off the video because it keeps disconnecting me.
Yeah, that's fine. Anybody else? This is a pretty straightforward question. All right. If you look at the references, it's very clear. A player becomes bench personnel when you notify the coach that it is his fifth foul. Okay. And it's really important to know that because let's say he gets his fifth foul and before you have a chance to report, he walks by you and just cusses at you. You give him a technical foul. All right. So not only is he fouled out, but there's a technical foul. All right. But there's no penalty to the coach at that point because that player is at that point not bench personnel. When you tell that coach A1 is fouled out of the game, that's his fifth foul, I need a substitute. At that point, he is now bench personnel. So now when that player cusses at you, you've assessed him a technical foul, correct? And it also becomes an indirect to the head coach. And that's significant because, as you guys know, if you read the rules, a coach is allowed 2 direct technicals or 2 indirects and 1 direct. But the important thing is if the coach gets an indirect because the bench personnel gets a technical foul, now the coach in the state of Washington loses his coaching box privilege. Does that make sense?
Does everybody know what that means? Does everybody know what that means to say he's lost his coaching box privilege?
He has to sit down for the rest of the game, right? On the bench.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, he's got to basically find a spot on the bench, sit down and coach from there. He can't go up and down like he was walking up and down the sideline before. Okay, so the answer is B, when the coach is notified.
Okay, is there anybody on the call besides Emma that hasn't answered a question? Speak up.
Don't be embarrassed.
We already got you, Doug.
Sorry.
Okay, so we're going to start at the beginning then. Paul, you have this one.
16, A1 fouls B1. It's A's 17 foul before the free throw. A2 substitutes for A1. After the second free throw is successful, the scorer sounds a horn and A1 checks in for A3. I chose C. A1 is not allowed to substitute. A1 would be allowed to enter the game at the next opportunity after the clock has run.
Anybody else?
Agree.
Anybody disagree?
It's okay if you disagree. It's more fun that way.
So basically, that's correct. Substitute comes out of the game. Coach makes a mistake. Oh, I wasn't supposed to take you out. I'm going to put you back in. Goes back to the table and they let him in. But no clock is run off the clock. No time is run off the clock. That's illegal. If he comes out, another player's in, you cannot come back in until 1 second is run off the clock. Pretty simple. And this has happened to me a lot, actually quite a bit, where they try to bring a player back in. And usually where it happens is when they're substituting 2 or 3 players at a time and the coach doesn't realize, or maybe, the substitute told the wrong player he's coming out. Once the player comes on the floor and the other players leave the floor, he is now bench personnel and he can't come back in until 1 second is run off the clock. All right. So the correct answer is C.
Okay, Byron, you're up.
All right.
Quick question first.
Sure.
What if you miss that call?
If you miss it and he plays,
Yeah.
nothing.
Is it correctable if you stop the clock and send it back, or?
Nope. It doesn't fall under a correctable error.
No, once the ball becomes live, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 17.
All right. A1 is injured on the court. The coach for team A is beckoned onto the court to tend to the player. But before the coach comes onto the court, A1 responds immediately and is able to continue. Which of the following statements are true? Give me just a second.
Sure.
I'm gonna say D. And because if the coach was beckoned to come onto the court, that means the officials stopped the game.
Okay. Everybody else agree?
I'd agree with that.
I said A, because the coach did not come onto the court. Even though he was beckoned, he did not actually enter the court.
I also said A for that reason.
I said A as well.
I did too.
Okay,
I was
so
leaning towards C or D, but then it didn't make sense because how could you decide in answering this question between a 30 or a 60? And like they said, the coach didn't come, so I was considering A.
I said A, C, and D, because that asks which following statements are true or not. Those 3 statements true?
Well, technically, yes, you're absolutely correct.
But I was trying to help you guys out there. See, when you were reading the question, I was highlighting the key points of this question.
But Chris has a point. They're all true.
Yes, they are true. But you can't have 3 answers on one question. It's multiple choice, right?
Good catch, Chris.
Yes. So the key is right here. Before the coach comes on the court, A1 pops up. We're just going to play ball. All right.
Yeah.
But Chris, your answer is correct. If the coach had come out and the coach wants to use a 30 or a 60 to buy him back in, he can do that.
Well, even if he doesn't come out and he calls a timeout, those
Oh
are
yeah,
still,
he can do that, right?
yeah. So anyway, answer for this one is A.
Yeah. I try to help you out there.
Sammy, you have an easy one.
Oh, this is too easy.
Team A jerseys have a sublimated, I don't know how to say that word, team mascot on torso. Jersey is, I said illegal.
What was that?
I said illegal.
B, illegal?
Yeah.
Yep, you're correct.
Do you know what sublimated means?
I'm pretty sure it's like when there's like a picture and it's on the shirt. I looked it up because I was confused.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, it's like a shadow on a shirt. Like you see a lot of the college teams have that, you know?
Kind of like a
They'll have like
grayscale?
Huh?
Kind of like grayscale?
Yeah. It's just kind of, it's not the loudest thing on the shirt, but it's still something. And those are illegal for high school.
In the conference room that we normally do this, there's a picture on the wall that we actually use as an example. So, yes, it's illegal. Easy question. Let's mark
Roger.
that down for her, so we got to give her a hard one later.
Exactly.
What if it's small and above the neckline?
Nope.
No sublimation. The end.
I had to look that word up.
Yeah, it's not easy to understand, and you know, it's hard to see it unless you see one. It's basically, if you think about it as a grayscale, you know, you have a logo on there and there's something else that you can see, oh, you know, that's a picture of something else. You know, it's kind of hard to explain. I don't have a good example that I can show you.
I'll see if I can find something and send it to you guys.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, Roger's up.
In 19, during warm-ups, the crew observes all players from Team B having their waistbands rolled, exposing the drawstring. What can be done to remedy this problem? I said D, all of the above. Well, or at least C, they have to tuck it in. But it depends. I'm not sure about unrolling it. I wasn't sure about B.
Well, if you unroll your waistband, doesn't the drawstring stay inside?
Pop out. Yeah, yeah.
I agree with D.
I also agree with you.
The basic answer to this question is you can't have a drawstring hanging out.
Yeah.
In high school. So whatever you got to do, you can roll it, unroll it, tuck it in.
Yeah.
You know, just don't have it hanging out. So the answer is D.
Dan, next one.
Okay. Team A is wearing predominantly white jerseys with green numbers and are wearing green pre-wrap as headbands. Which of the following is correct? And I'm going to say Team A can only wear white headbands as white is the dominant color of their jerseys.
Partially right.
A.
You got something, Byron?
I said A.
I agree with A.
Yeah, because it's a pre-wrap. It's not a headband.
What's the definition of a
Bingo.
headband?
It's made to be a headband.
No,
Yeah.
there's a definition. So, something that goes completely around your head.
Right.
That's a headband.
Okay.
So in this case, this pre-wrap could be a headband if it goes completely around the head. As opposed to those little scrunchy things that girls wear in their hair, you know, to keep like a ponytail back. Those aren't headbands, but anything that goes completely around your head is a headband.
So I'll give you a little hint on this question. Pre-wrap is a headband, is considered a headband.
Okay.
But D.
Then it's D.
Yeah, you look at volleyball girls, they use it all the time. as a headband.
Why is it D?
Because
guess-
the color doesn't meet
Doesn't- yeah.
the restrictions.
What are the restrictions?
It has to be the same as the predominant
Predominant
color of the
color.
jersey. The jersey's white, even though it has green numbers, I believe the wrap would have to be white as well.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. I'm just gonna, he's wearing white jerseys with green numbers. Can he wear a black headband?
Mm-mm.
I think
Yes.
black,
Yes.
black,
Yes.
white,
Yes.
black, white, and something else. I think
Beige.
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 are always
Or the
something.
predominant color of the jersey.
Okay. So you can wear a headband that's white, black, beige, or the predominant color of the jersey. In this case, the predominant color of the jersey is white. So he can wear white, black, or beige.
So it's C.
No?
No, it's still D.
It's D because he chose to wear a green pre-wrap. And green is not
Right.
legal in this case.
Okay.
Right, because C says it can only wear white. No, it can be white, black, or it can beige. Or
Okay.
predominant.
Correct. A little tricky there. That's
That's a
okay.
little harder than your last one, Dan. A little harder.
That was a trick question. Yeah, I just got to C and I didn't read D, so that was my mistake because C seemed pretty right to me. But I should have read D.
That's
So,
okay. Is Will over there?
you know, he just got called by his grandmother. She has a koi pond and her power just came back on. So he
That's
went
okay.
down to check on the fish.
Okay, if he comes back in the room, let me know.
He's probably going to be back in about 45 minutes, an hour.
All right. Okay, so Doug, you got the next one.
Awesome. After obtaining initial legal guarding position, which of the following is illegal for the guard to do? Extend the leg towards the opponent and initiate contact. D.
Anybody else?
That's what I had.
So that's correct. It is D. This one's pretty straightforward in the rule book if you look at it on 423.2 and 423.3. Basically, I mean, this is a video type discussion that I'm sure Stacy has talked to you about. If not, she will. But you're basically going to do A, B, or C legally, but you can't extend the leg toward an opponent and initiate contact. Any
I have a question on the turn and duck.
Yeah.
If you turn and you like move your foot with the turn, does that change anything? Like, does your 2 feet have to be planted after you've established legal guarding position?
If you establish legal guarding position and you're going to get barreled into and you turn and duck, and in doing so, you're turning your body to kind of absorb it and you move your feet, you're fine.
Okay.
There's no, back in the day, like when I played, which was like the Ice Age, there was a thing that the defender had to have both feet still in order to draw a charge. And that's not true. Once you establish legal guarding position, you have to keep defending. And if you do nothing wrong, if you don't go into the offensive player once you've established, then the onus is on the offensive player, not on you. So don't worry about the feet being still and all that stuff. Okay?
Okay.
But again, the key thing is you have to obtain legal guarding position.
And what are the requirements? Somebody jump in and impress me. What are the requirements for legal guarding position to establish?
You're within 6 feet.
No.
Oh, no, I don't have it.
2 things. Well, 3 things.
You have to have your torso
Facing.
aligned or facing with the player. I don't remember what the second.
And both feet touching the playing court.
There we go.
Correct.
Wow, good.
2 feet on the floor, torso facing.
Mhm.
To
Well, you have to
obtain
remember.
legal guarding position.
I think it'd be hard to guard on 1 foot.
Well, you could be like 1 foot in the air because you're moving. To establish, though, you have to have both feet on the floor. And then after that,
It was sort of a joke. That's okay.
oh, okay, okay. All right, Patrick, next one.
22.
Player A1 is being guarded by B1. B1 knocks the ball away from A1. While both players are going after the loose ball, A1 fouls B1. Team B is in the bonus. Official has B1 shoot bonus free throws. And that's correct.
That's correct, you say? Okay. Anybody else? It's a 50-50 question, people. Anybody have incorrect? So everybody agrees?
I said incorrect.
Because?
I don't really remember why. I was looking at it with my mom and she said something about an offensive foul. You don't get it?
Okay.
Once you're in the bonus, any fouls, shooting foul, right?
Who has control of the ball when the foul happens? Who has team control of the ball?
I don't think there is
A1.
team control at this point. Is there? The ball was lost.
I'm
No,
asking
A1
you.
still has
Okay.
team control.
Okay.
A1 has
Okay.
control until someone else regains control.
Okay. So if team A has team control and team A fouls somebody, what kind of a foul is that?
Offensive.
A team control foul.
Team control.
So
Do we
this question is a definition of a team control situation. All right. Just because A1 loses the ball and it hasn't gone out of bounds and is just bouncing around, it's still technically in team A's team control. So when team A commits a foul, it's considered a team control foul. Do we shoot team control fouls if we're in the bonus? Or anytime?
I remember no, but if you're in the bonus, doesn't that change?
Anybody else?
We never shoot team control fouls
Or player control fouls?
or player control fouls.
We went over this in one of our classes and I'm sure it was like, you know, there was too much information, but we never shoot team or offensive fouls. Even if we're in the bonus, we don't shoot them.
The correct answer is B, it is incorrect.
Okay,
Team
Chris.
control is very important. So when you look in your reference book, you know, make a note of that. Please understand team control. That is very important. Okay. 23.
I hope this one's easier than the last one, Chris.
All right, let's see. A2 catches a pass from A1. A2 goes to pass the ball back to A1, but A1 turns away from A2 just before A2 releases the ball for the pass. A2 is able to retrieve the ball after it bounces several times with no other player touching the ball first. Official rules, I would think A, violation for traveling.
Other thoughts?
I said C because he did not dribble when he first caught the ball.
Correct.
I agree with C.
Hmm.
And it wasn't like he was throwing the ball ahead to run up to catch it.
Correct.
Would it change if when he caught the ball, he took a couple dribbles, then he passed it, and then he recovered it? Would that make any difference?
I believe it would.
Yep.
It did to me because that's how I read the question. Sorry.
Good thoughts, everybody. Correct answer is C. Because he didn't dribble when he got it, it's considered his first dribble.
Regardless of how many steps he may have taken in order to recover the ball?
That is correct.
Wait, so in this question, did the ball even leave A2's hand?
Yes.
So is he like about to pass it, but he realizes that he turned around, so then he throws it on the floor, and then he starts dribbling it?
No, it could be the simple thing as, you're standing, a few feet away from your teammate, and you just make a real light pass to him, and the guy turns away, he doesn't see it, right? So now the ball's bouncing, and he runs and gets it.
Oh. Okay.
If he picks it up, stops his momentum, and then dribbles from that point, is that double dribble?
Yes.
Good question.
So let's say I'm a defender and I steal a ball at half court, but I don't take a dribble. There's nobody between me and the other basket that I'm going to score at, except for one defender. I throw it up over his head. It bounces at the foul line. I run ahead, grab it, and lay it in. That's a legal play?
Good question.
I'm going half the court with one dribble. Does that count?
Yes.
Okay.
That's considered a dribble.
Okay. Even if I take 6 steps in between those dribbles.
Yeah, because when you're dribbling the ball, there's no count as to how many steps you have to take per dribble or anything like that, right?
Wait,
It's
you
only
say
when
you
you
throw it
end,
over
it's
someone's
only when
head,
you
right?
end your dribble?
There was too many questions at once.
Only when you end your dribble, you can take a certain number of steps, but in the middle, you can take as many steps as you want between dribbles?
Yes.
Okay. That's new information for me.
You don't
It's
see
hard
it
to-
happen very often.
It's hard to visualize that one, though.
It's just an attempt to make sure you understand the dribbling and double dribble and those kind of rules. But you hardly ever see this in a game.
Let's move on. That's
All right.
23 is C.
Tanner.
24.
24. A1 dunks over B1, then taunts B1. B1 retaliates and throws a punch at A1. The ruling is, I said B.
Okay. Why?
Why? Because
Tanner, can you put your video on so we can see you when you're talking?
Yeah, sorry, I'm on my phone because my
Oh, you're
laptop-
good. You're good. You're good.
So it's just kind of a pain since I'm not holding it all the time.
I get it. Okay, go ahead.
But I basically said B because B1 is issued the flagrant for throwing the punch.
And nothing happens.
Well, it just differentiates the two technicals.
Okay, so A1, I'm dunking the ball. So I dunk over you. And then when I come down, I taunt you in your face. I say something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the defender, B1, he gets pissed off and he throws a punch. And you're saying B, correct? A1 is
That's
issued an unsporting technical foul, and B1 is issued a flagrant technical. Okay.
Yeah.
The punch is never allowed.
That statement is correct.
Whether or not it hits, it's never allowed.
Is taunting? I'm sorry.
Go ahead with your question.
Would taunting though be considered a fighting act because you're trying to initiate someone into a fight by taunting in their face like that, or does that not cross the line into an initiating of a fight?
Okay. So let me say this. The correct answer is C, and I'm going to tell you why, and I'm going to comment about what you just said.
You have good instincts, Ken.
Both are charged with flagrant technical fouls. So if you have an incident when one player taunts another player that causes the other player to throw a punch, even though you didn't do anything except open your mouth, you are considered to have started, that fight, so to speak. All right. The incident that causes a punch being thrown is just as, from a penalty standpoint, just as egregious as the guy who actually throws the punch. So you mouth off at me, I throw a punch at you, you're gone too, because you said something. Essentially, you instigated it, even though you didn't throw the punch.
So if the taunting doesn't result in a thrown punch, is the taunting an unsporting technical or still a flagrant?
It would be an unsporting technical.
Okay.
In this case where he just taunts him.
Do you have to hear what the guy said?
No.
Okay.
As long as you can, like this I've seen this happen a lot. A1 dunks over B1, and B1, just because of the force of the dunk, he kind of falls to the ground, no contact, and then A1 stands there and gives him the Hulk type expression,
or straddles him.
Yeah, or
You
straddles
see that
him
happen.
and stares him down for half a sec. That's a taunt. I will tell you that, generally speaking, you'll know it when you see it. Or sometimes he'll dunk and he's running up the floor, he points at the guy and says, something to the effect of "in your face." Same thing. Okay. 24, the answer is
Actually, the last thing I wanted to say about this is that there's no requirement. Let me I'll try a different way. If you throw a punch, it doesn't matter if you make contact or not. It's still considered a flagrant foul.
Lisa, you're not supposed to say that, because there's another question I was going to talk about there.
Okay, sorry about that. I gave somebody an answer. Okay,
Okay,
Rowan's
25.
next. Rowan.
Okay. A1 drives to the basket, goes airborne, releases ball for a try, and then contacts B1 before landing. The basket is made. Double whistle between lead and center. Lead signals block, center signals charge, and then large. Correct procedure is...
Okay, this is a tough one.
Yeah, I was a little bit stuck on this one.
Go ahead. Take a guess.
I think I would guess A, just to, I don't know, maybe go over it and make sure, like, that you saw the same thing, kind of, but I'm not sure.
Okay. I will tell you that the lead and the center will get together. But that's all I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
Anything else?
Doesn't it have to do with the position of the foul on the court and who has which area to be the primary referee for that part of the court? This happened in the lane, I believe.
Sorta, but not really. Because it can happen somewhere else too. Anybody else?
I said C. I think because they already both signaled, it's considered a double foul.
Keep going.
You're in the right track.
Okay. That's kind of, I remember looking up the rule about it. And then I said, I think because the shot was shot before the foul, I would still count it. And
that statement is not quite correct, but that's okay. Keep going.
Yeah, that's kind of all the reasoning that I have.
Okay. Anybody else want to jump in on this one? Okay. So write this down. It's in your case book. It's 4.19.8C. C as in Charlie. 419.8C in your case book. This is a double personal foul. All right. And the key here is that you have both officials, the lead signals the block and the center signals a charge. All right. They both signaled. They didn't hold their prelims and get together. Because they both showed, one showed a block, the other showed a charge, we have in referee terms a blarge. The answer is C. Both officials report the foul. We count the basket, and then a throw-in is awarded to B. So what happens is, and I'm going to explain why this is the case, but first things first, both officials report the foul. So we're going to have a foul on A1. All right. And if you guys know, in a normal case, if you have a foul on A1 going to the basket and it's considered a charge, we don't count the basket. But this is not the case in a double personal foul. Okay. So A1 gets a foul, even though he's the offensive player. All right. And also, because the center calls a charge, excuse me, the lead calls a block, B1 gets a foul. And in a normal case, you would get a shot. But because this is a double personal foul, the rule is we count the basket, we don't shoot free throws, we get both fouls on A and B, and then B gets the ball on the inline, he can run because we awarded the basket to A. All right. And the reason we count the player control foul, excuse me, we don't count it as a player control foul, is because when the lead calls the blarge, or excuse me, calls the block, and B1 fouls A1, and it's a double personal foul, we negate the properties of a player control foul. I know this is very confusing. All right.
But both officials meet, have a discussion, and what does that discussion sound like?
If you
Probably don't ever do that
excuse,
again.
If you want to excuse my French, it's going to be oh shit.
All right. Are you blind?
Basically, what happened on this play is because they both signaled, one went up, you know, with a player control on his head, the other went with a block. All right. Because they both showed it, we have to call a double personal foul. Now,
so if they don't show it, then they have
if they don't show it, they can get together and they can decide very quickly within a second, hey, my guy got pushed into your guy, so it's not a player control foul, it's a block. Or the other way around, if you can come up with a quick reason. But if you don't show it, you can come out of it really quick. If you guys have a quick conversation, one way or the other, you're fine. But if you're both showing, you need to call it a double personal foul.
The reason you want to get together is because a lot of really good referees wouldn't know how to resume play after this situation. So really what you're talking about, you're not telling each other how awful their call was. You're trying to figure out, are we going to count the basket? Where does the ball come in bounds? That kind of stuff. That's what you're talking about. So whoever asked that question, that's what that conversation is.
A very good friend of mine and Stacy's during the state tournament 2 or 3 years ago had this happen to him. And they didn't get it correct at the state tournament level. So this is one of those, this is probably one of the hardest questions on the test. All right. So we can spend a half an hour discussing this, and we're not going to do that. read the rules, read the case book on this one, and just try to understand visually in your head what just happened. All right. And I'm more than happy, or Stacy's more than happy to, talk about it with you, maybe after the test or offline or something like that. Okay. But the key thing is it's a double personal foul. All right. A foul by each player in the act of shooting when the ball goes in the basket. Okay. So Rowan, good try. The answer is C.
That makes sense now.
It does? It doesn't make sense to me, and I've been doing this a long time.
Well, I mean, kind
So
of.
just to let you know, when I mentioned that this happened to one of our friends, I was at the state tournament. I was doing the next game, and the same thing happened. Except in my case, I didn't show, and I can tell my partner was going to show. And he was going to call something, he was going to call the opposite of what I was going to call. But I came up yelling, no, he got pushed. And that was enough for him to kind of hold back his motion midway. He was going to call a charge. I was calling a push. And we got away with it. But I didn't show, and that's because I held my arm up. I didn't show. If I had shown, we might have been in trouble. So it goes, that's one of the things that Stacy tells you in training. Don't show if you have a double whistle. Try to resist that. Be patient. Okay, 26.
Oren.
Uh, 26. B1 gets a stationary position near the end line with 1 foot on the end line. Dribbler A1 then charges into B1. The official rules a player control foul. I was kind of on the fence about this one because I wasn't sure if the end line counts as a part of the playing court. So I said incorrect.
Okay.
But yeah.
Anybody else?
Can somebody help her? Is the line part of the playing court or not?
Yeah, because it doesn't say in the rule. It says they have to have legal guarding position. They must have both feet touching the playing court. You don't play. If somebody steps on the line, they're out of bounds. So that can't really be the playing court in my mind.
Good. That's a very good logic.
Good.
The answer is B. It's incorrect. You have to have your feet, to establish legal guarding position. In this case, it's a legal guarding position type question. You have to have 2 feet on the floor initially. On the playing court, on the playing court.
Inbounds.
So out of bounds line is not considered playing court. So I could be standing there for 5 minutes, 1 foot on the out of bounds line, the other foot on the playing court, and any contact that's going to come to me, it's going to be a block. Questions?
Okay, Ken.
26 is B, incorrect.
Ken's got 27.
All right. Team A requests a timeout. At the conclusion of the timeout, as teams are returning to the court, A1 curses at the game officials. It would be a technical team foul because it's during an intermission.
Okay.
Or
What
or it
letter
would be a
is that?
technical. No, I'm sorry. It would be a technical foul on A1, but they're technically a bench personnel at that point, right? Because it's during an intermission, or is timeout considered an intermission?
Who wants to help?
I think it's all of the above. It's technical.
Yeah, I had all of the above.
All of the above.
And it counts as a team foul, and it counts towards A1s, towards their personal.
Okay. So first of all, the correct answer is D. It's all the above. So why isn't he bench personnel? Well, first things first, for a substitute to come in to sub in the game during at the timeout, he has to substitute before the 15-second interval. Or excuse me, before 15 seconds is 15 seconds before the end of the timeout, he has to substitute. So in other words, when the horn goes off for the players to come on the floor, it's already too late for a sub to come in. So any player coming out has to be, by definition, a player on the floor. So we're going to have a technical. It is on A1. He's the one that committed it, right? It is considered a team foul, and it counts as one of his 5 fouls. But it's not an indirect to the head coach, which matters in this case. Is he a sub or not? Because you had mentioned it, is he a substitute or bench personnel? Does that make any sense?
That's clear. Yeah.
Okay.
The only thing that doesn't make
27, all the above.
The only one that doesn't make sense is C, technical counts as one of A1's towards disqualification. That could also mean that it counts as one. If he gets 2 technicals, he's disqualified, correct? So that wasn't clear that it was one of his 5 fouls. Because if he gets two technicals, he's disqualified, correct?
Yes.
Right.
So
that's what I was reading on C, but I still did D, all of the above.
Yeah, it's not trying to, the question is not trying to fool you. If you get a technical, it counts toward your 5. So if you only get 1, it still counts toward your 5, and you're not disqualified until you get your 5th foul.
It also counts towards your 2 before you're ejected. So
right.
it could
Correct.
be either one, Carl.
Good, thank you.
Okay, Ron.
On a designated spot throw-in, the thrower may jump, pivot, or shuffle their feet as long as a foot is kept on or above the 3-foot area. The thrower must keep 1 foot on or above the spot until the ball is released. I'm going to say correct.
Yep. So that's 442.6. And there's a very good example verbatim in the casebook. It's pretty straightforward. So you cannot have a travel on a throw-in on the person throwing the ball. You can have him you can have a call for leaving the designated throw-in spot. But just because he shuffles his feet, there's no such thing as a travel. So if you have a spot throw-in and he decides to run, and you've told him spot throw-in and he runs, you could have a throw-in violation for leaving the designated throw-in spot. Okay? So 28, the answer is correct.
Carl, you're up.
Okay. 29, Team A coach is given an official warning for unsporting behavior in the first quarter. In the third quarter, official blows their whistle because A1 reaches through the plane during a throw-in by Team B. The correct procedure, I believe, is a delay warning on Team A because it's a second occurrence. I just wrote down second occurrence is A.
Anybody else?
I have no idea what that is.
That's okay.
A, isn't it?
A, okay. Anybody else?
I said B, but I need to.
Can I defend B?
Say that again.
I'd like to defend B.
Okay.
I believe that the technical would only be if the reaches through the plane happens the first time as well. It's the first time they've reached through the plane, so they get a warning.
That is correct. But what about
which is unrelated?
But what about the?
I think it's unrelated to the unsporting behavior in the first quarter.
Okay.
Could it be because the warning was on the bench and this is on the playing court. And I don't know that's true, but I'm wondering if that's why the warnings wouldn't stack.
Okay. So that is, the correct answer for 29 is B, a delay warning on, delay a game warning on A. The reference I'm going to give you, and the reference on the test is in the rule book, and that's fine. There's a very good example on 9.2 under penalties. All right, 9.2 under penalties, which is on page 58. So basically, delay of game warnings and coaches unsporting warnings are two different things. We consider them two separate things. They're not the same. Okay, so that's why you would not give a technical foul on the second warning, because the first warning was for the coach for unsporting behavior, and the second warning is for delay of game. How many delay of game warnings do you get per game, per team?
I would say one, then the second one's a technical.
You don't get one per half?
Don't know. Never done a game.
That's fair. Yeah, you only get one delay of game warning per game, per team. All right, I'm just gonna mess with you.
There's several different types of delay of game warnings. You know, reaching through the plane, not coming out of a timeout. Those are all delay of game situations. So,
but they're all considered the same thing because it's a delay of game,
right,
not the type. So 29 is B. 30.
Paul.
Sorry, I had to go off mute. A1's try for goal is within the basket as A2 in an attempt to rebound the ball unintentionally grabs the net. Official rules. I have C, cancel the basket interference, because 461 says whether it doesn't matter if the ball is outside or inside the ring, it's still basket interference. So that's why I said C.
I can't argue with that one. Good.
Tried to sell it.
Oh, that's what you're trying to do. That's good. You told that to a coach, I'd believe you. 31.
Byron.
Okay. The coach of Team A wants a timeout for a correctable error. Team A has no more timeouts remaining. The official denies the timeout request by Team A coach. I'm gonna say improper procedure because I thought you could still call a timeout, but you'd be charged a technical for it.
Okay, the correct answer is B, it's improper. You are almost correct in your logic. So if a coach has timeouts and they go to the table and they stop the game for a correctable error, if the coach is correct and you're within the correctable error time frame and you fix it, he is not charged with the timeout. We just play on. If he's incorrect, you charge him a timeout. If later in the game, a team is out of timeouts and he goes to the table and says, I have a correctable error, and they stop the game, you go through the same procedure. Is it a correctable error within a time frame? If he's correct, we fix it and we go on. If he's incorrect, normally you would charge him a timeout. And because he doesn't have a timeout, you charge him a technical foul. But in this question, you never deny the correctable error request. So if he has timeouts and he's wrong, you charge him a timeout. If he doesn't have a timeout, and there's a correctable error request and he's wrong, you charge him with a technical foul. So the procedure is incorrect. You don't deny the situation. Okay?
Okay. 32, Sammy.
Oh, this question is so easy.
Come on, this is two easy ones in a row, Sammy. I got to give you a hard one, but go ahead.
I mean, just do 33 instead.
So Roger, you do 32.
Okay. The clock is started on jump ball when referee jumps. I say B. No, it should be A. Should be A. That's what it says.
When does the ball become live?
No, it's legally touched. No, sorry, I'm not sure. Sure when
D.
an adult is
When
legally
it's touched
touched.
by a player.
Yeah.
When it's touched by a player.
I think it's got to be the
I
non-jumper,
think
right?
B.
That's a trick question, Stacy.
I think one of the jumpers has to touch
The
touch
ball.
it.
He's asking you a trick question.
When the touch ball is legally touched.
What's the reason of having two guys jump for the ball if anybody can touch it first?
It says when it's
To get
legally touched, so
possession.
it should be B, I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think B.
Yeah.
B.
So remember, the question says, when is the clock starting on a jump ball?
Oh, I still think it's B. But
So you toss the ball up and we start the clock when it's legally touched.
Yes.
and only one of the two jumpers can legally touch a ball, I believe.
That is correct.
Can-
So if you
can
toss the
anybody-
ball up
Go ahead.
and both players, both the jumpers jump and miss it, and the ball hits the floor, what do we do?
You gotta do it over.
Start over.
Re-jump.
That's where we re-jump. And does the clock start before?
No.
Because it was never legally touched.
Right.
They just had that on a pro game where they threw the ball in, and the team throwing the ball in told the players do not touch the ball until it bounces off the backboard, because the clock won't start because it had like 0.7 seconds left in the game. And the inbounder threw the ball, hit off the backboard. The other person jumped up and scored it, and it was a legal play because nobody had touched the ball.
Okay, so I caution you, again, high school versus.
Oh, I know, but I was just saying it was legal because nobody had touched the ball.
Right.
So
In high school, if the ball had hit the backboard, not the basket, that would not be a valid throw-in, right? They'd lose the ball.
What makes that invalid? We're getting off track. Let's
Yeah.
come back to that because we're talking
And
about.
there's
jump
another question related to that. We'll touch base on that later.
But I do have one more question about jump balls. When does the ball become live?
I think when it's legally touched.
Anybody else?
I think it has to be touched by one of the jumpers, but it's supposed to be in control of one of the non-jumpers.
Okay, I'm going to help you out a little bit here. She's asking you a trick question.
When the referee chops it in.
Yeah.
I see.
When the referee
chops it in. What does that mean?
That's when you start the clock as the scorekeeper, when the referee chops the ball in.
So you're saying
think
that
that's when it's live?
the clock starts and the ball's live all at the same time. Is that what you're saying?
No, I really don't know what the answer is. I think the clock starts when one of the jumpers touches the ball, but I don't.
And that's correct.
That's correct. It is
But
B.
the
That is
ball is
correct.
live
What
when
she's
the-
asking you is, when does the ball become live?
when the ref throws it up for the jump
Yeah,
ball.
I guess when the
Tosses
ref
up for the
throws
jump
it
ball.
up.
When the ref releases the ball.
Bingo.
Yes.
When the ref tosses the ball up, the ball
Yes.
becomes live.
Right.
So if a foul happens sometime before the jump ball's over, the ball's live, so it's just a regular foul as opposed to a technical foul. Right? If the ball was dead, it would be a technical. So it's a little difference between when's the ball live and when's the clock start.
I told you she's messing with you.
All right.
33.
Okay, Sammy, you got this one.
Okay. So game is tied 61-61 when the fourth quarter ends. As players are going to the bench, Team A head coach berates officials for not calling a travel at the end of the game. Official calls technical foul on Team A head coach. I said B because of the reference for that is the exception in 562. And it says, if a technical foul occurs after the ball becomes dead to end a quarter or extra period, the next quarter or extra period is started by administering the free throws. And if the fourth quarter or extra period ends and the score is tied, the free throws will start the extra period.
That's a perfect reference. What happens if the score is not tied? Let's say it's 61-60, and the team behind gets to shoot the free throws at the end of the fourth quarter. Do we shoot them first, or do we wait till the fourth quarter?
Say that again at the end of the third quarter?
At the end of the
At
fourth.
the end of the fourth, the game's over.
Oh,
You're saying
Right.
after the third period?
No, at the end of the game. Okay, we're in the fourth quarter.
okay.
All right. A is up 61-60.
Okay.
Okay. The horn goes off. The game is technically over. The team for the winning coach A is so unhappy with you that he, calls you an idiot. You tee him up. What do we do with those technical free throws?
Okay, so the last sentence of the same exception is, the score is not tied and the results of the free throws would tie or win the game. The free throws are administered as part of the preceding quarter period. So it'd be the end of the fourth.
And if he makes two, the other team wins.
Mhm.
If he makes one,
Yep.
we got tie, we're going overtime.
Yeah,
Very
I guess,
good.
according to what she's reading.
That's entirely correct.
Sammy, what page is that on so other people can find it?
It's page 45 of the rule book.
So what was the answer to 33B?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Very good. She gets a brownie point for that one.
She does. She even accepted a harder question and she still got it right. Okay, Dan.
Okay, 34. The referee is prepared to toss the jump ball to start the game. As the referee is ready and until the ball is tossed, which of the following is not a violation? I chose B. B1 is not on the center restraining circle and moves to another position on the court outside the center restraining circle. The other two are violations.
Anybody? You guys agree?
Yep.
I agree.
Everybody says B.
Agreed.
Does anybody not understand why it's B? B is the correct answer. Does anybody need me to show you this? No? Okay.
Good. We'll move on. Doug.
Hello. 35, right? Which of the following causes the alternating possession arrow to switch? A.
Everybody agree?
Agreed.
C.
I had C.
I have C as well.
I have C.
Does everybody understand what type of question this is? What I mean by that, this is a throw-in question.
Yeah.
Okay, does that help you? So let's go through them. On a throw-in, I'm A1, I'm throwing in to my teammate. As I throw it in, B1 kicks the ball. What do we got?
A
kicks
kick
the ball.
violation.
A kicking violation, correct. And A would get what?
The ball.
No,
A
the
throw
throw-in.
in.
No, B gets the ball.
If B kicks it, doesn't
B-
A get it back?
B did a violation.
Oh, B1 commits the kicking violation.
Right. So A gets the ball back, right?
Oh, because it doesn't
Right.
say who. It doesn't say who threw the ball in. I guess we got to assume A did.
We
Yes.
assume that A's the offense and B's the defense. Should have
Oh,
told you
okay.
that.
Okay.
So A throws it in, B kicks it. A gets the ball back.
Mhm.
You get the ball back because of the kick.
Mhm.
Right? So it's not it's not an alternating possession scenario. It wasn't the only way to have an alternating possession is it's a jump ball scenario, right? So A1 has the throw in, it gets kicked, A gets the ball back, we don't switch the arrow. Okay. B, A2 is called for a team control foul. So I'm A, I throw it into my teammate, and somewhere during that time, A2 commits a team control foul prior to the throw-in inning. So if A commits a foul, they have the ball, they commit the foul. Who gets the ball next?
B.
B.
Okay. And they get the ball because of the foul, correct?
Yeah, not.
Not because of the jump ball. Okay, so it can't be B. D, A is throwing it in, and B4 holds A4. So we have a foul prior to the throw in coming in or ending. A gets the ball back. Because of what? The foul.
Mhm.
So the arrow doesn't switch. C. A1 commits a 5-second violation prior to releasing the throw in. So A's throwing it in. You got a count going. 4, 5, tweet. A's still holding the ball because they didn't throw it in.
Right.
Who gets the ball?
B does.
B.
Because of
The violation.
5-second rule.
right.
Throw-in
And the
violation.
arrow would switch.
And B gets the
Oh,
ball.
C then. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, well, one thing to keep in mind is if on an alternating possession, if you're throwing the ball in and there's any kind of foul, you're not going to switch the arrow. But just a rule of thumb.
It's a very common mistake.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, like when I was on this doing the scoreboard for the games, you had to wait till they actually threw the ball in or something like that, where they threw the ball in and they were moving up the court. Then you switched the arrow. You were always supposed to wait or something before you switched the arrow.
So
I can't remember.
you don't switch the arrow. Let's say you hand the ball to A1. You don't switch it then.
Right. You wait till A1 throws it in and
Well, it has to be legally touched.
okay. Yeah. I
If
remember
if the throw-in doesn't end
Until
unless
it's
the ball
legally
is
touched.
legally touched.
Yeah.
So in all the other 3 scenarios, the ball was never legally touched.
Yeah. So a
And
normal thing, you got the possession arrow, you threw it in, somebody goes up the court, that's when you would switch the arrow. So because
Right.
the ball had been legally touched. Okay, I knew it was something like that.
So read the definition of a throw-in and when it's legally touched. The correct answer is C. 36.
Doug just did that one, so Patrick is next.
A1 is shooting their last free throw. B1, who is in a marked lane space, steps into the lane prior to A1 releasing ball on the free throw. While ball is still in the air, A5, who is not in a marked lane space, breaks 3-point line. Free throw is missed. The correct ruling would be isn't it a double violation? And then, so C.
You don't see
Anybody
that with conviction.
Say B.
Don't back down, man. Your first instincts are usually correct. Anybody else?
I agree
C.
with C.
Yep. Double
I
violation.
agree.
I say
Does everybody understand the question?
Yes.
Everybody else?
Obviously, I don't, because I said A.
Okay,
say
There's
B.
2 separate violations.
okay. So I have a diagram. I'm going to show it to you. First of all, the correct answer is C. All right. And the perfect reference on this one is the second reference, 9.1 in the penalties 4B. Okay. So I'm going to change the screen for a second. Bear with me. Oops. Let's see, where is it? Oops, not that one. Hang on, I'll find it. Here it is, free throws. Let's pull this back up. Okay, everybody see that? Okay. So, first of all, A1 is shooting, right? That's pretty simple. Okay. B1 steps into the lane prior to A1 releasing the ball. So B1 in this case, let's just call it number 5, right? This is B1. Steps into the lane prior to him releasing the ball. Okay. Right now, what do we have?
Lane
Violation.
Say that again.
Lane violation.
I'm looking for another word.
What kind of violation?
Free throw lane violation.
One more. Come on, keep coming.
Marked lane violation?
A what?
Marked lane violation? I was
It
just
starts
looking at.
starts with a D. Starts with a D, delta.
A defensive lane violation.
Designated?
I've heard that one before.
Designated?
No, keep coming.
It's a
Delayed?
violation.
Yeah, delay. Okay. So what does that mean? Delay.
You're gonna wait for the shot to either make it or not before you
Okay,
make the.
keep going. If he makes it, what happens?
You continue on.
Can you?
Second shot, correct? Nothing happens if he makes it.
Yeah.
If he misses it, what happens?
It's a redo.
He gets another shot. He gets another first shot. So that's when, again, we're not on the floor, but basically when you stick your arm out, you can see me here, that's a delayed violation. We're going to wait to see if the ball hits or makes, excuse me. See if he makes it. If he makes it, we're good. If he doesn't make it, he gets another shot. Now, second part of this question. When the ball's in the air, let's see if I can do this. The ball's in the air. All right. A1, who is not in a marked lane space, breaks the 3-point line. Okay, what's the marked lane space, somebody? Do anybody know what a marked lane space is?
Come on, Carl, you know.
Hatch marks on the side of the key.
Okay, so these marks right here, right? Those are marked lane spaces, okay? All right. So A5, who is not here, breaks the 3-point line. So white shooting, let's say this is A5, right? So ball's in the air. This guy decides to break the 3-point line.
No, it's got to be the white one, Kevin.
Come on,
A5
Kevin.
is the same as the free throw shooter, right?
Yeah. So number 2.
Yeah,
That's
so
fine.
number 2 goes through.
Oh, A5 is shooting. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But that's legal, right? Because he released the ball.
Doesn't it have to hit the rim before he can break the
Oh,
three-point
you're right.
line?
You're right. I'm sorry. I got the wrong guy. Sorry.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, it has to hit the rim, I think, before they can break that
That
3-point
three-point
line.
line. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, number 2.
yeah, A5 breaks. Okay, now I'm good. I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Now what do we have?
Double violation.
A second violation.
Double or simultaneous lane violations.
Okay, so when these, when this person steps in, we have the delayed violation. All right. See if you can follow me. This guy steps in, delayed violation. If he steps in first and this guy steps in, we have what?
Which one do you penalize?
Count the first violation.
You penalize what? This one?
The first one, I
Yep.
would think.
And we ignore the second one, if that's all that happens.
Yes.
Okay,
Only because it drew him in. I don't know.
correct.
But
That's exactly correct.
yeah, because he went in because the other person went in.
Right. Okay. So having said that, we'll erase this one. If I can erase it. Oops, excuse me. Now, he shoots, he steps in, his teammate breaks the plane of the three-point line
Before the ball hits the rim.
before the ball hits the rim.
The
This
guy
is,
outside has to wait till the ball hits the rim.
Correct.
say it again?
Number 2, white, has to wait till the ball hits the rim.
Correct.
And he
So
can't be drawn by 5 because it doesn't matter. 5's allowed in before it hits the rim, but 2 isn't.
Yes.
Yes.
So,
It's
so
very
you
important to know.
can't
that
say that 5 drew in 2 because 5 can go into the lane as the ball's released, but 2 can't break his plane till it hits the rim.
By rule, any player free throw line extended and outside the three-point line must wait until the ball hits the rim before they can break the plane. All right. So we have 5 breaking in, which is on the other team. Then we have 2 breaking the plane. We have a double violation. Okay. So here, does everyone understand that? There's a lot of scenarios on this one.
Basically, to make it easy, I'll just remember if the opposing violations happen are made by people in lane spaces, marked lane spaces, then the first one ends the one you penalize, and that's it. But
Okay, so
you have 2 sets of restrictions here. You have the restrictions on the lane line, and then you have the restrictions behind the three-point line. Those are two separate things, and so you're going to penalize both of them.
okay, so who answered that question?
I did.
Patrick. Okay,
Patrick.
so Patrick, I'm gonna ask you one more question. So we have A shooting the ball. Excuse me. 5 steps in early. We have delayed violation. All right. 1 air balls. He doesn't hit the rim at all. He air balls it. What do we have?
Does he get a reshoot?
Okay. Everybody agree with him?
Yes.
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 Everybody's getting tired, man. If you miss the shot, if you miss the rim, do you get another shot?
Nope.
No.
Oh, you lose it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's considered a double
So didn't the
violation.
violation occur before?
We ignore this one though. We hold this until we
But it
see what
happened
happens
before he shot the ball.
with the shot. When he air balls, that's considered a violation.
If you airball it, you don't deserve anything.
Exactly.
All All right, that's
Hang
enough.
with us, guys. I know it's long. We only got a few more to go.
And we'll get
Wait,
through
so I just want to make sure. So if, let's say, the player on the other team, on the opposing team shooting, steps in, and then the team that the shooter's on, they step in too in the lane, then only the opposing team gets penalized.
Correct.
Okay. So it's not a double violation, it's only one violation.
Yeah, we ignore the second one because they drew them in.
Okay.
Okay. That one got a little funky, but that's one of those funky things. This does happen in the game. So read that rule and understand it. So 36 is C, a double violation. Oops.
Okay, Tanner, you're up.
37.
All right, 37. After the toss to start the game or overtime period, two non-jumpers cause the ball to go out of bounds simultaneously.
Oops.
Proper procedure is D, re-jump with two players involved at the center jump circle.
Do we agree?
Yep.
Yep, that's pretty simple. The answer is D. 38.
Rowan.
Sorry, couldn't find my mute button for a second.
That's okay.
Okay. A1 located in front court passes the ball to A2, who is also located in front court. A2 is not looking. Ball strikes A2 and rebounds back to the back court. A1 touches the ball first when he or she are standing in the back court lane area. Official calls backcourt violation on team A. Team B throw-in will be from. I think it would be C, the backcourt near spot where the ball struck A2. Oh, wait. No, I think it would be B. No, I think it's B.
Or it could be A.
Could be A.
I'm trying to help you out here. See where it's highlighted?
Yeah, the backcourt lane. So then that makes me think that it's C. But I'm not.
The highlighted backcourt lane is A's backcourt.
Oh, I see. This one. Oh, let's see. Sorry, let me look at it online.
So is it a backcourt violation? Before you worry about where the ball's coming in, is it a backcourt violation?
No, A1 touches the ball first when she is standing in their backcourt lane area. So yes, that is a backcourt violation.
Let's
Okay,
see what
here's A. We're going this way. The ball gets lost and it bounces all the way back here.
Backcourt.
A2 touches the ball here. We have a backcourt violation.
Yeah, that's a backcourt. Yeah.
Where does the ball come in?
Near where A2 would be. So that would be the yes, that would be C, where the backcourt near a spot where the ball struck A2. Is that?
Where does the violation occur?
Once it crosses
On
the half-court line?
Yeah, half-court line. So
Well, no, because if B was to get the ball, there'd be no violation. I think it might be the B end line, which is what, A? Because isn't that the end line? You draw that little cone and the ball is thrown in If it's in that area or something, it's you throw it on
Good
the.
work. I thought you were losing you, Paul. You looked like you were getting tired, but you're on top of this one.
So here's the
Yeah.
the
There's
the
no
violation-
violation until somebody touches the ball.
Yeah, it's not a backcourt violation until A's teammate touches the ball.
Oh, okay. I thought that they
The
did
ball was
touch the ball.
balanced and it comes off another A teammate here. And if you know, it goes all the way back to here. Now it's touched right here.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And
Yeah,
because of
it's
that,
helpful to see it.
cone, then it goes onto the B front court line or
Right,
the
right here.
end line.
Okay.
Okay. It's helpful to visualize it that way.
I know this one's not an easy one to understand either.
But just remember, it has to be touched for the violation to happen. And so wherever it's touched, that's where the ball comes in. A lot of coaches don't even know that rule. So now you know.
That was 38.
Okay, Oren?
So which one was it? A?
A, yeah. So 39. Hang in there, guys. We'll get through this pretty quick. The last few go pretty fast.
Oren, you're up.
A1 is dribbling the ball in the front court, table side near the 28-inch mark. Or
That would be foot, but that's a
foot.
Mark.
A2 and B2 are legally contacting each other. A2 and B2 are illegally contacting each on the front court. Table side part of the lane. Officials called double foul on A2 and B2. Ensuing designated spot throw in will be, I said, on the sideline near table side 28-foot mark.
Very good. So when you have a double foul, the ball comes in at the spot where the ball was. So in this case, the ball was near the 28-foot mark, which is close to the midcourt. We have two players pushing each other in the lane, right? Which is at least 28, 30 feet away. We have a foul. The ball comes in at the sideline closest to where the ball was.
It's called the point of interruption.
Yeah. So that's what B is.
Okay, so just remember, it's important to realize, I asked you earlier, on an intentional foul, where does the ball come in? It comes in closest to the spot of the foul. On a double foul, it comes in at the point of interruption, which is where the ball is. So you got to keep all these things straight in your head.
39.
Ken.
All right. On 40, so on the
I'm
release.
sorry, 40.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
problem. On the release of the ball by the free thrower A1, but prior to the ball contacting the rim, B1 crosses the free throw line and enters the semicircle to box out A1 and illegally displaces A1. This would be a delayed violation on B1.
Okay. Anybody else?
Is anybody awake?
So there's two parts of this question. Crosses the free throw lane. Oops.
Is illegally displacing meaning like he's like fouling him?
Yes.
Oh.
So he crosses the free throw lane and we have a delay violation, correct? But in addition, he illegally displaces A1.
The D, violation of foul.
It is D, violation and foul.
I misread that, thinking just by boxing him out, it was illegal because he had crossed into the semicircle and not thinking that this was a foul.
If he didn't illegally displace him, didn't make contact, we would have a delayed violation. But because he made,
But it's on the release of the ball.
Say that again.
It's on the release of the ball. He can go into the lane on the release of the ball.
Right,
Not in the
but,
Hit the rim.
but he can't cross the free throw line.
He can't go on the side
but
of the
doesn't
free
that
throw
make-
line farther from the basket. Okay, he can be in the lane, but he can't be on the other side of the free throw line where the free throw shooter is until the ball hits the rim.
Right. But doesn't that just make it C, a foul?
Wait, so this guy's crossing the free throw line. Does that mean he's coming from outside, like towards the 3-point line? Like, where is he? If he's crossing the free
Kevin's
throw
gonna
line,
draw it here real quick. I hate this
Okay.
question.
This is the free throw lane, right? The marked hash marks. This is the free throw line. Okay. When the ball's released, two can come in, right, on release. But two cannot cross this line to block out the shooter.
Until the ball hits the rim.
The ball hits the rim. So you have a delayed violation for him breaking this plane, this line. And if that's all that happens, we give him another shot or we ignore it if the ball goes in. If he displaces him illegally, which the question says, then that's also a foul. Okay?
But then you have to report it as such, so as both a violation and foul? Or do you just report it as a foul?
So they would get the substitute shot, and then whatever consequence that foul would bring, whether it be 2 shots or a ball out of bounds potentially.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Because you would penalize the first one. If he misses the shot, he gets another one. And he would also, and also you would penalize this depending on whether or not we're in bonus or not.
And guys, realistically, I'm going to tell you, for your first couple years of reffing, if you get one or the other, I'm proud of you. These are all little nuances that you learn along the way, but call something, but it doesn't have to be exact until you kind of get your feet under you.
So we're on 41. I know we said 9 o'clock, but we're going to continue. If you need to get off, that's fine. No big deal. But it's just taking a little bit longer because we're on Zoom. It's a little harder to do this stuff. So 41, we'll just keep moving on.
Ron.
Which of the following throw-in situations is illegal and results in a violation on team A? A1 with sideline throw, attempts an alley-oop play to A2, but before A2 can touch the ball deflects off the backboard to A3. A1 bounce passes to A3 with the pass contacting the court inbounds. A1's throw is released prior to 5 seconds elapsing, but not touched by A2 until after 5 seconds has elapsed. A1 with a sideline throw attempts an alley-oop play to A2, but before A2 can touch the ball enters the basket. I would say
which one is illegal?
I'd say A and D.
D.
Yeah.
There's only one illegal thing on this question. There's only one illegal one.
D.
Which one?
D.
D as in dog, Delta? Yep. The answer is D. A, B, and C are all legal.
Yep.
D, you cannot score on a sideline throw in with nobody touching the ball. If you throw it into the basket, it's not legal.
I've seen this happen too, but go ahead. We'll move on.
Yep.
Carl.
42.
Okay. A1 is dribbling the ball in front court while A2 is posting up in the lane. 1 foot in the lane, 1 foot out of the lane. A2 lifts the foot in the lane, and then replants the foot back in the lane. Official continues the 3-second count. I said incorrect because when he lifted his foot off the lane, out of the lane, he was out of the lane, and he puts it back down, he's back in the lane. It's a new event.
Okay. Everybody agree?
No, I said it was correct.
Don't both feet need to be out or in?
Yeah.
Okay, so
he never established position out of the key just because I don't think, because he lifted the foot. Just because he lifted the foot, wouldn't he have had to put it outside the lane to establish he's out of the lane?
there's nothing wrong with that logic. Basically, this question comes down to this player is trying to fool you by circumventing the rules by technically just trying to lift his foot up. So in your rule book at 9.7.2, it talks about this. You can't purposely kind of, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. He's trying to just
Cheat the ref, fool the ref.
fool the ref by lifting his foot up and out.
So essentially, you have to get out of the lane area,
Right.
to not have the count continue. Okay, so this guy is yeah.
The answer is A. 43.
So I guess you could say that there's a vertical line in the lane and you have to get out of that vertical line.
Yep. In a
Okay.
simple term, yes. Go ahead.
Oh, me? Oh, okay. B1 is within 6 feet and actively guarding A1, who is dribbling the ball. The official has started the count and reaches 3 seconds. B1 successfully deflects the ball out of A1's hands, but A1 recovers immediately and continues holding the ball. The official continues to count since B1 stayed within 6 feet of A1, and when reaching 5, calls a 5-second violation. I guessed I have B incorrect, but I'm not sure why I said that, but that's what I had when I took the test.
Okay. Anybody else? 50-50.
Are we assuming that he started from the 3 seconds?
From what we've been talking about today, there was never a loss of team control, so maybe it is correct to keep the 5-second going, but I'm just going off what we've been talking about tonight.
So the question, he doesn't change the count, he continues. So he goes 1, 2, 3, the ball gets deflected, recovered, 4, 5.
But doesn't the count restart once he recovers possession?
That was an interrupted dribble,
See,
right?
because that would be another way to deke. You would just fake like you lost the ball and then grab it back again, and
I remember we watched one of those
get a new
videos.
count.
So this
B1
question,
deflected ball.
first of all, this question is a closely guarded question. All right. So let me tell you what the rule is for closely guarded. You pass the ball to me. I'm A1. All right. I can hold the ball, right, for almost 5 seconds. And I'm closely guarded. I can dribble the ball. Okay, excuse me. I hold the ball for almost 5 seconds. I start dribbling. You're still guarding me for almost 5 seconds. Then I can pick the ball back up and almost hold it for another 5 seconds while you're closely guarding me. Okay, so for each status change, held ball, dribble, held ball, you get another 5 seconds, provided you're closely guarded the entire time. All right, so in this case, B1 is being guarded by A1 while dribbling the ball. So there's a 5-second count going. All right, he loses, the ball gets deflected, he recovers it, and he holds the ball. So what does he get?
Another 5 seconds.
Another
5 seconds.
Yeah, so it's incorrect.
It is incorrect.
So I guessed it right, even without knowing.
Good instincts, Paul. Just chalk it up to good instincts. Yeah. Byron.
44.
All right. A1 is located in back court and passes the ball towards the front court. B1 located in front court taps the ball back towards the back court. A1 jumps from back court, catches the ball before it hits the back court, then lands in front court. Officials rule back court violation. Incorrect ruling.
Okay.
Said with authority.
I think it's
why?
Is
Do
that
what?
correct?
I agree.
Never possess the ball in the backcourt.
Not quite.
And B1 is the opposite team, so they touched it, right?
Okay, so here,
B1
first of all,
pushes
the answer is B. It's incorrect. So A1's in backcourt. He passes the ball in the front court. B1 in the front court taps the ball back to the backcourt. Okay? All right. A1 jumps from the backcourt, catches the ball. So what technically is A1's status right now?
I think he's backcourt.
In the front
Okay,
court.
hang on. He's technically backcourt when he catches the ball, right? He's in
Yes.
the air. He
No,
catches.
he jumps from the backcourt.
Right. So he hasn't established front court yet.
That is correct.
But it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Because
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 B1 touched
B-
it.
Put it
who
in the
caused the ball
backcourt.
to go into backcourt?
B1.
Oh, B1. Oh,
Got it?
okay. Yeah, I
The
did.
defender caused the ball to go the other direction.
Yeah, okay. That's why.
Okay.
If A had touched the ball and forced it to go in the backcourt, and then one of their teammates jumped from the backcourt and caught it, then you have a violation. But because the defense knocked it, it doesn't matter what A1 does.
Yeah, that call's not reading the question completely right. I didn't.
Exactly.
Yeah, I didn't notice it was B1 instead of A.
Well, that's what
touched it.
happens when we've been at this for 3 hours, so that's
It's
okay.
called
Tim,
retired, man.
45.
No, that's why the jerseys are different colors.
Sammy,
So in the middle of the first quarter, the B head coach notifies the official scorekeeper and official that they neglected to add number 24 to the official book, and number 24 is about to check in. Official allows number 24 into the game after issuing an administrative technical foul. Does the penalty for this situation include forfeiture of coaching box privileges for Team B's head coach? I said no. Just because I looked it up in the rule book and that's what it said.
Why is the reasoning for that?
Because of the reference. You'll find it really quick.
Don't they need more than one instance to lose coaching box privileges?
No.
No, it doesn't. But I think because it's just that technical from adding up.
Is it because it's an administrative technical foul, not a?
You got it.
perfect. Ding, ding, ding.
Administrative technical foul right here.
Okay.
Administrative technical fouls do not count toward the technical foul situations where the coaches lose the coaching box privileges. So the answer is B.
And it also doesn't contribute to the head coach being disqualified
Right.
after
Yep.
indirects and
Yep,
indirect
that's what I
technicals.
said. Yep. It doesn't count towards direct or indirect. Administrative T's.
Roger,
46.
Roger, you there?
Okay, next.
Hi, I'm here. I just
Oh,
needed
okay.
to unmute. I was talking, but it was muted.
It's okay.
Anyway,
46.
B. Well, because they were warned and there. Well, hold on. I think it should be. Well, I didn't look up the reference, but my guess would be B because they already had 2 of those violations.
Yeah, this is what we talked about earlier. Right? 2 of the same delay of game violation would be a technical.
Okay.
That's what I thought.
So B is
I
the
said
answer?
C.
Well, I don't know because is it on B2 or
just Team B?
Or is it Team B?
I don't know. You tell me.
Team foul.
Obviously,
foul.
I don't know.
I said
So
I said C because like the team gets 1 warning, so they got the second one, which is a technical. But I don't think it would be technical directly to a player. I
Oh,
think it would be the team
that's
because they
true.
got that 1
Yeah,
warning.
I originally had B, but I now think it's C. So
Yeah, I think so.
good job.
I
It is
see.
C. Delay of game warnings do not go to an individual player. They just go to the team.
Yeah.
Okay. 47.
Dan,
Let's see. 47. A1 is driving to the basket for a breakaway lay-in. While the ball is on the ring, B1, who was trailing the play, intentionally strikes the backboard and causes the ball to fall off the ring. The official rules, I thought it was no points and a technical foul on B1.
Because?
Well, I read reference 10.4 4B.
Good.
good answer.
That is correct. If you intentionally slap
Yeah.
the backboard, it is a technical foul. And that's it. If the ball comes out because the basket vibrated and the ball falls out, no points.
Yeah. So it might be a good play by the defense in some situations.
It might be.
What if the ball goes in? Is it still a T?
If he intentionally
Still-
strikes the
still a
backboard.
T. Yeah, it's still
Yes.
technical.
There's a difference between intentionally striking the backboard and inadvertently striking the backboard.
And
But what if the ball
the
drops in
B
after
shoots
he
foul shots and
intentionally-
gets the ball. So, I mean, A gets the free throws and gets the ball. So it's probably never going to be good for B hitting the play.
So what was the answer?
The answer is C, no points.
Okay.
You cannot intentionally strike the backboard. And that's the key word, intentionally.
But what if another Team A player tries to tap it in and is grabbing onto the rim?
He
I mean, they
tries to
can tap it in, I would think.
and grabs the rim. Well, depending on the play, I would
Yeah.
say no basket because you can't, it's illegal to grab the rim unless you're being, excuse me. You can't grab the rim unless you're grabbing the rim to present yourself from falling, from injury. But because he's on the offense and he's touching the rim and the ball's up there, that's going to be basket interference. I may or may not tee him because maybe he's grabbing the rim because, somebody, bumped him and he has,
Tip jam.
try to keep him from falling.
If they unintentionally slap the backboard, is that a goaltend? Or is there no call?
That would be a no call.
Okay.
And you'll argue with coaches about, well, you won't argue. Coaches will disagree because sometimes coaches think every time somebody touches the backboard, it should be a technical foul. And there's judgment on this call. You just need to decide.
Gotcha.
Okay, Doug.
48 correct. A1 is fouled by B2 and A1 falls to the ground. A1 attempts to punch B2 but misses. Which of the following is correct procedure? I think I chose D. A1 is assessed a flagrant technical foul and is ejected. Any player from Team B can shoot 2 free throws for the flagrant technical foul. Team B gets the ball at the division line opposite the table, and A1 must leave the confines of the bench and playing court before the game can continue.
So earlier, Stacy kind of gave this one away. What happens when A1 punches and misses? And you say the answer is D. Okay. The answer is C. And the only difference between C and D is the player must stay within the confines of the bench and is supervised by an adult. We don't have players leave the game without supervision.
Leave the gym. Yeah.
Excuse me, leave the gym. Yeah. So you understand the subtle difference? It's that last sentence.
That he stays inside
He
in
must
the
stay,
confines of the bench.
right?
Okay.
Because because there's adult supervision.
So what does adult supervision mean? Does that mean an adult needs to be seated by him the rest of the game?
No. He can be on his bench because the coach is there.
Just the end of the bench.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question about that one.
Sure.
So is the foul by B2 ignored? Like there's no penalty for that?
No, we penalize that.
Okay. So it's just not part of the answer.
It's just not part of the answer, correct?
So you're gonna, if there's free throws involved with the first foul, you're gonna shoot those, you do it in the order they happened. So you would shoot those free throws first, then you would do the technical free throws, and then the ball out of bounds. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
Does everybody understand why B2 would not get thrown out of the game?
Needs to be supervised.
No, why B2?
He
Excuse
didn't
me.
do anything.
Because it was just a regular foul.
Yeah,
It wasn't
yeah,
like
right.
the taunting. It wasn't, he didn't cause the punch to be thrown.
That's right. It's just a regular foul.
Yeah, it's a regular foul.
Okay.
Patrick.
At 49, B1 fouls B1. B2 takes exception to the foul. A1 and B2 begin to fight. Both coaches and 2 assistant coaches come onto the floor to prevent the fight from escalating. Official rules that both A1 and B2 will receive flagrant fouls and are disqualified. Also, both assistant coaches receive flagrant fouls and are removed from the visual confines of the area, stating only head coaches can come onto the floor. And I think it's incorrect. I think any member of the coaching staff can come and help break up the fight.
Correct.
All right, Tanner, you have number 50.
Now, if you don't get this right, everybody's got to stay on.
Currently driving home, so if someone else could actually pick me up, that'd be pretty great.
Okay, Rowan, it's on you.
Okay. In first quarter, with no 4 to 48 warnings have been issued, A1 is called for a player control foul on a drive to the basketball. Is that supposed to be drive to the basket?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. As official is reporting foul, Team A head coach is at the division line shouting and demonstratively expressing displeasure with the call. The official, I think that
I'm trying to help you out.
I think it's either B or D.
He's showing up the referee.
Doing, Paul? Which one are you doing?
I think it's D. I give him the technical foul because he's showing up the referee. I don't care if he had a warning or not.
I like the way you think.
He's also outside the coaching box.
Oh, well, that's
right.
True.
Good call.
Yeah, I'd
Good
say
catch.
D as well.
The correct answer is D. What it's trying to tell you is the 4-48 warning for the coach for unsporting-like behavior. You don't have to give him a warning. If he does something that's, out of line totally, you don't have to go give him a warning. You can give him a warning, but you can also tee him directly. So in this case, demonstratively expressing displeasure. All right, that's enough. Right, he got pissed off.
Okay. Hey,
okay, so
go ahead,
I have like 1 or 2 minutes of quick business, what's important for you on the test, and then we'll let you go. We'll hang around for any quick questions, but listen to this because this is very important. Excuse me, I'm hoarse now. There's 50 questions on this test that we just did, the study guide. In the actual test that you will take on the Arbiter website, and Stacy will talk to you about how to get on that in your next meeting, you actually will only have 40 questions on your test. It will be randomly selected from the 50. So Paul, your 40 questions might be different than Ken, your 40 questions, okay? So that's important. But here's the other thing I need you to do. Take a look at this. On my test, my question number 5 was actually question number 1, right? Question number 4 on my test was question number 4. Question number 2 on my test was question number 5. So they jump you around, right? There's no order, there's no logic to it. But the reason you need to do what I do and write the number on the side in your margin is when you get your test result, it's going to say you got, 39 out of 40 and you missed question number 2. Well, question number 2 on my test is actually question number 5. So if you don't write it down, you're not going to know exactly what question you missed when you go back to your. Does that make sense to everybody?
Mm-hmm.
So write down the reference of the, like I said, my question number 2 was actually question number 5. All right. The other thing to remember is you all have now, you all have the answers now, right? A, B, C, D. When you take the test, let's say, look at question number 4. Question number 4 could be any number on the test. But when you actually take the test, they're going to jumble A, B, C, D. They're going to mix it up. So you can't look at your test and say, okay, number 4, the answer is D. But D actually might be A on the test you're taking. So you have to actually read the answers and just don't go down your test. Well, 4 is D, 5 is B, and do it that way. That doesn't work. They're gonna mix up and jumble up the answers and change the letters on you. Okay, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So actually read the question, read the answers, and then make your choice. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Any questions?
You good, Kev?
I'm good. Again, we'll
Hey.
hang around if anybody has any quick questions on anything, but thank you for coming. Feel free to call me or call Stacy with any test questions. I normally do this
I'll
in
put
person.
Kevin's number and so forth on the website so you can have access to that.
Yep.
And next week at this time, it's not going to take this long, but next week at this time, we're going to have another Zoom. And I'm going to walk you through how to use Arbiter, how to take the test online, how to do the clinics, how to put your availability and all that stuff. So next week, we're going to be doing that at 6:30. I'll send out a reminder, okay?
So the tests and the clinics are all on Arbiter?
Yeah,
Oh,
they're all accessible via Arbiter, yeah.
oh, okay. I didn't know that.
So I know it's late, you guys. I really appreciate as many of you hanging as long as you did. And I hope this was helpful. Get out of here unless you have something serious you want to talk about.
Was it helpful?
Yes.
It was.
Extremely,
Thank you.
very helpful.
Thank you.
Good.
I have a quick
Again, if anybody has a question, we'll hang around for a few minutes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Have a
Very
good night.
much. Have a great night.
Okay. Bye.
Just out of curiosity, do you have to take the test every year, or is it just like
Yeah.
a one? Yeah.
And
I was
it's
like,
about-
how do you remember what your question number 5 was?
Well,
No,
that's
they're
why
all
you write it
different. Every
down.
year the test is different.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so you have to go through this process every year. So the first time Kevin does this every year with the apprentices to kind of help you out because it'd be impossible to pass the thing with if just, because you don't know anything yet.
Yeah.
But then, in the ensuing years, you might want to work on it with a friend of yours or somebody that you ref with that, and try to figure it out and do it that way.
Oh, you don't do this with with all the officials?
No.
Oh, because in baseball, all the officials come, no matter if you've been doing it 20 years, everybody goes to the test review to do that. I wonder why there weren't very many people here.
These are all the apprentices.
Right. No, I see that now. Because like I said, in baseball, it's everybody.
Yeah.
So we all break into groups, do 5 questions, get the answers so everybody can take the test.
Well, a lot of people get together and do it together. So that's, it just depends on who you're working with. But, another
Next year,
thing
can
is-
we just hook up with this and watch with the apprentices, or you
You
won't
want
allow-
to?
You're welcome.
Okay, good.
What you
No,
wanna
this
do
this
too
is the best part of the training, get you through it.
What you want to do though too is also keep your tests from year to year, because a lot of times the questions change a little bit, but the principle is all the same. Sometimes it's the actual same question. This year's test actually changed more than it did in the past years, but I keep my tests for every year so that, if I have notes or references, I can always go back and look at what happened in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Anybody have any questions related to a rule or a question that we went over too fast or anything like that?
I just missed the answer for number 4.
Number 4? That's the one about when we stop the clock on the mercy rules.
Yeah.
So when the official shows, when he says, white 21, push, 2 shots,
Okay.
that's when you stop the clock.
Delta.
Official
So it's D.
report to the scores table.
When you report to the
All
scores
right.
table.
Thanks,
Yes.
everybody.
So I was just making sure because
When you report the number of free throws to be attempted.
Yep.
Oh.
It's D. Any other
Okay.
questions, Samantha?
so it's D, right?
Yes.
Correct.
D, yes.
Good job
All right,
looking
good
up some
night,
of those
guys.
rulings.
Okay.
See you, Doug. See you, Roger.
Good job, Samantha.
Thanks, bye.
See you, Tanner. Good work, Kevin. I'm exhausted. I'm ready just to chill out. So
Yeah. Unfortunately, first time doing on Zoom. I didn't know how, I knew we were going to run over, and we did, but I think we had good questions, had good interaction.